Not entirely unscathed, but Flashpoint do make it out the victors today, 3-1. It's all done for EU PS4. It's time to move on to EU Xbox, where we have CycloneGG versus Vroum Froum in a pretty important matchup. And here to kind of help me guide you through it is going to be Kresnik. Of course, just casting the first matchup.
Yep.
Feeling pretty good about that one overall, or are you kind of, aside from that weird switch up on Ice Mines?
Yeah, the switch up definitely kind of threw me off, but I think that definitely reaffirmed Flashpoint for me as.
Do you think there was a legit reason, or is it like they forgot to?
I don't know if they
didn't
forgot.
get there
I
in
think
the
they won
draft?
the first game 4-0, and it's like, yo, give me Grover.
Yeah.
I got it.
Okay.
That's my guess.
I agree.
I've been in that
Somewhere
position
realm.
before.
Yeah.
I'm usually the guy going, please don't.
Some
Please, guys.
funny business going on, guys. Let's take a quick peek here at the Xbox EU standings before we hop into discussion. Again, CycloneGG, the #1 squad, versus Vroum Froum, the #2 squad, and this is to clinch this region. There's 2 wins separating this team. There is 2 weeks after this week left to play. So if CycloneGG can get 3 wins ahead with 2 weeks left to play, that means that they can no longer be knocked out of first seed. So this is a big one for them, but again, they're not super far ahead in these standings, right? This is not as locked up as I think that Flashpoint Stush Gaming matchup felt.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and Vroum Froum is the only team that gave them their loss early in the season. Cyclone's definitely recovered since then, but that doesn't mean that this team should be counted out at all.
The map ban's coming in now. Serpent Beach Fish Market. So taking a seat here. And the Jaguar Falls, as well as Frog Isle. So my drought,
you really are cursed.
My drought continues, man. No frog. No frog.
Yeah, when we casted
I wonder why that is.
We did a frog on Friday, and I'm like, man.
Yeah, dude.
If only Nick was
here.
here.
You did. I'm sure you did do a frog on Friday. I certainly didn't, guys. Let's head to the map screen here. See where this one's going to play out. Stone Keep will be the first map. Same map, or the same first map from our last set. Again, another best of 5 here. I believe Vroum Froum our first pick, if I remember that correctly. First 2 maps before we get into loser's pick.
Yeah, definitely a map that a lot of teams like to start on. I think it's a really balanced map in the sense of there's a lot of things you can do. We've seen you can play characters even into counter picks because there's just so many places you can play and still be effective. High ground control, you can play to keep wrap them, a lot of flank potential, a lot of blaster potential, just an overall very balanced map in terms of picks.
It definitely is. I don't know why. Stone Keep's never resonated a ton with me. It's not my favorite, but you got to agree, when you really kind of step back and look at it, a lot of ways to kind of do it on Stone Keep. A lot of ways to approach both the mid fight as well as those conversion fights. It's not uncommon to see a conversion here. It's not common to see conversions here. It's just very balanced start to finish. Early Genos snag here after the Talus Atlas Ash Victor bans. Cyclone respond, immediately snapping up Vivian Barrack.
And I don't blame them for that. Vivian really good for controlling, I think, a lot of different spaces on this map. Up top, just able to have that constant pressure in that hallway when you're trying to push at the very end. Even though sometimes the indirect damage might be better when you're pushing, but on the defense, being able to hold that down, and still even on the offense, having constant damage so they can't peek, can't contest you, it really is a big impact.
Such a good kind of just bulldoze, right? Wherever you want it to be, wherever it is, whether it's the Church or the Keep on Stone Keep, Vivian is a nice champion to help you get there. Of course, they do grab the barrack away. I like that as just taking away from Genos, though. A lot of flexibility there, a lot of scalability. And a Makoa, we're going to get to see some more Makoa run back. I've actually really started to like Grover as well on Stone Keep. For when you play Keep, kind of specifically, being able to just, you're reaching so much above you, below you, left, right, center, man. This character, if you can keep him safe, he's really nice to have parked in Keep.
It's phenomenal outside, too. I mean, being able to, when you're holding Church, you just put him in that corner of Church by the door. He heals your team by the plat. He heals your team on point. He heals your backlines that are trying to poke.
Damn, can he really reach all the... I guess he probably could.
In the corner. He's definitely like doing the Blair Witch, like just standing against the wall, but it works. It works.
The range of Grover is it's something you can't sleep on, man. It really is a little bit further than I think I give it credit for at times, and why I think he's been so effective. Teams find little cute pockets to tuck him in and make sure he can give a little bit of love to everybody while staying safe himself. Now, the hottest topic probably across all leagues right now, I think, is Strix in terms of damage. A sniper that's not really seen, frankly, Bobby, a lot of change over the course of his lifetime in terms of how he functions or even his damage output, but all of a sudden, he's really become a viable option on a lot of different maps.
It's that stealth change. It's so hard to pin him down when he goes. You can't knock him out of it. You just see the numbers, and you pray that your next shot is going to follow the numbers right.
Well, guys, I think both these drafts looking pretty solid here. Again, a very important matchup for Cyclone to be able to clinch EU Xbox. Let's get it on.
Right you are, Nick. Game 1. And maybe the last set that really Cyclone need to win. Gormizer, as Nick points out, if they win this one, they punch their ticket to HRX qualifiers happening here in a few weeks. Vroum Froum, the only team that's handed Cyclone a loss. That was a 3-2 early on in the split. We've seen a little of everything out of this matchup. 3-2, 3-1, and 3-0, with Cyclone winning 2 of them. Vroum Froum winning the 3-2. So an important matchup and maybe the closest one in this region.
Well, and already it's starting out pretty good here for Cyclone. They do lose Fanatics, which admittedly, I'm just going to go ahead and say that can never be underlined. Fanatics has done so much for Cyclone in the course of the last few weeks that just getting rid of him is alleviating about 50% of your pressure, right? The rest of the team is going to be able to get aggressive, and they've been doing so pretty well. But, I mean, that guy, as a frontline player, has to be, like, I don't want to call him the life force of the team, but very akin to that, where it just feels like he is a driving factor for their wins.
Well, he brings a lot, right? So much to the table through him. Despite that early death, 96% for Cyclone, as well as for Mania. Holds up that high ground. Krolft on the opposite team, looking to do some healing. Could be a good fire spit. Legends down to about double-digit health as overtime begins.
I mean, a couple of good axes here. He's at least going to be able to open the door. There's going to be a good hook. Fanatics, once again, is really low. Gets bailed out and a whirlwind. Going to keep him going.
That's a double kill for Kings as well, and that's all they need. Fanatics puts the icing on the cake. And that is a 1-0 start here for Cyclone. Off to the races. Undying so far as Kings on this Vivian. And a good look. Vivian, she has had a pretty big stamp on the last couple of sets.
Yeah, and that's one of those things, and it's actually interesting to see kind of a, I want to say maybe forlorn Victor that would come through. Like, I mean, Vivian is probably one of the biggest ones, and it's gone through this weird cycle, right? Leon was incredibly big, then Vivian was incredibly big, then Victor was really big, but Vivian's still really good, Leon's still really good. Like, it's this interesting shuffle on console where a lot of these hit scan champions are high priority because admittedly it's just going to be a little easier having to kind of trace on a console, especially going against aim assist with something that's projectile is very, very difficult and more convoluted than you want to think, other than I'm going to point and click to try and find this shot. And so Leon coming through, like, that's going to be her job. She has to deal with this Vivian, but unfortunately it's going the other way for Valerian.
Couple big missed ultimates for Vroum Froum as well. Overpower, most notably. Good stun onto Kings to maybe keep things stalled out. Good hook from the high ground. Pulls down Naiju. He's able to battle shout his health right back up. But a good slide from Valerian kills Welshmania. Looks like a good defense here for Vroum Froum as Cyclone is forced back.
Just being able to find that little bit of pacing, specifically get rid of Luke, is too good. The rest of the team has some force behind it, but nowhere near as much, right? Having a Grover, having your healer, having a Whirlwind readily available is going to be able to keep you kind of right front and center on this payload, potentially even pushing it in during that last fight. With Ancient Rage available, with a Flash being available, there's enough to potentially kind of blind your opponent as well as just catch him off guard and beat him to death with an anchor on the side of Makoa. It just kind of comes down to if one Fanatics gets pressured out enough, this is already good to get his health low. But also if they feel like it's worth it. I mean, 20 seconds left, they've still got a little bit of breathing.
Yeah, but Vroum Froum kind of sold out for that last defense. Overpower does connect this time, back from cooldown, but the rest of the fight is happening in the background. Sure, you kill Luke, but if the rest of your team is dead around you, it's not going to matter. Oh, into stealth goes well. She needed one more bullet, Naiju. Shield goes up, Battle Shout not ready. Fanatics gets the kill, but the respawns are there for Vroum Froum.
Wall going to keep Ninjas in alive for a little bit, but there's Valerian jumping down along with the Drogos.
And just a couple kills needing to stagger out there. Yui, one last shot onto Ninja. Once the Inara falls, the payload rolls on in, and Cyclone grab themselves a 2-0 start.
That was an interesting commitment. So Leon dropping down with Enlightenment makes sense. Throw it out there, see what kills you get, but you're, closer to the payload, trying to contest it while you're immune. I have no idea what Legends was like, why Drogos dropped down, other than to be another body down there. It's not necessarily the end of the world. It's just one of those moments where you're like, huh, it's not where I expected to see you coming down for this fight. And the problem is that they just don't have anything to deal with it. They're tracking down Welshmania. I think they recognize Strix being a pretty big threat, and they've been dealing a lot of damage to him, at least enough to get 2 deaths on his name. But Kings is going for free. I mean, 9-1 and 9, He's perfectly happy to only have that one death, for no one to be looking at him. He's just going to keep chilling and free firing on this Vivian until somebody focuses him.
Well, that's like the trade-off. Yeah, we'll identify Welsh and try to eliminate that threat, but that means we have a 9-1 and 9 Vivian forcing us down. The battle for the keep side of things recommences. Whirlwind out from Cyclone to start it off. First blood from Yui. As Naiju throws up the shield one last time. Bad spot for a Dragon Punch. Welsh Mania finds the shot, and Cyclone starting to run away with the fight.
And now finding the right angle. Didn't hit the shot on Valerian, but you can see both Valerian and Kralft are kind of in that same mindset of, well, might as well go back to base. There's not much we can do. We didn't get sent there the way everybody else on our team did, but we can't do anything if we aren't there. So they're going to go back. Did maintain the Dragon Punch, so he's going to be flying through, but I think everyone's just too far away.
Yeah, he's got a lot of area to make up there. Not only does he not grab the kill, he gets killed off for it. Kings fights backwards, gets the shot, 96% for Cyclone. Nobody in range. Looks like Ninja didn't even want to try it, and point number 3 now for Cyclone. Exactly what you want in a big, important matchup.
Yeah, I mean, being able to find this, you can feel how hungry they are in their play. I mean, Kings doesn't go 11-1 and 12 every game, and there's a good reason that he's been able to kind of get this aggressive and still get away with it. I mean, he's ahead of the Makoa right now, but it is the shell shield that's kind of staying up. That is the background, the backing that's keeping him alive, where it's just like, in case you need bailout, you've got a buddy there to keep you going. Also, it helps that he has a silver platter like that to serve up these kills on.
Welsh Mania confirms it. Kings did a lot of the damage. Seismic Crash from the high ground for Ninja. Gonna get some stuns, but no kills. A double kill, and this re-engage from Welsh Mania moves him to 6-2 and 6. Payload now rounding the final quarter. Look at that, 78,000 damage. There's the overpower. Might not be enough.
I mean, honestly, right now, Kings is just feeling himself. Like, he feels immortal, and no one is doing anything to change that. They're too busy. They have to be focused on the objective. Dome Shield gets dropped, and they still can't close it out. Valerian trades out his life.
Couple extra shots from Yui. Finally, Dragon Punch does something for Legends. And if he's able to get out alive, that's really big and important. Commander's grab onto Welsh Mania. Axes from Luke connect before the bullets from Naiju do the same. A minute and 8 seconds left, but Cyclone now on the re-engage. A couple more axes will do it. Finally eliminating the Vivian, though.
The question is whether or not they've eliminated the threat. Koa's still here, 89% on his Ancient Rage. Not going to be able to charge that up. So that should just open up a little bit of room here for Vroum Froum to move forward. The problem I have is it doesn't feel like it's going to last that long. I mean, 94% on the flashbang, 94% on the Ancient Rage. Just take one of those, and it's enough to maybe get you back in here, potentially close it out, especially with the Whirlwind coming up soon thereafter. Vivian still feeling herself. Yeah, you lose your streak, but, you know, instead of, what, 16-1 and 16, you're 16-2 and 16 now. You still have just as much pressure.
Well, it looks like Seismic Crash is still available, so I guess they were able to kill Ninja before Seismic Crash came down, so something to look at there. Hook connects, flashbang out. Doesn't look like it finds too much value. First blood in the re-engage for Kings onto Ninja. That Anara health pool so important to contesting this payload, especially now if Naiju goes down. Payload inching itself in. Nobody in range from Vroum Froum to contest, and Cyclone gonna grab themselves the 4-0 win.
It's just well played from them top down. I mean, they open up, they have such good communication to the point where I feel like Luke is too good, as well as the Natix. Like, so many members would get to that, like, okay, I'm one hit from dead. Someone would save them from whether it's a shield, whether it's this shot that happened to be very stray from their otherwise fight, like preoccupied fight. They just, okay, peek, pop, good, you're safe, let's keep going. Like, they just were impeccable.
And look no further than the Vivian, I think, in this game. We'll get a, you know, you get a good feel of it. What was it, 16-2 and something, some double-digit thing there towards the end. But you brought it up. So much of a focus was on this Strix, on Welsh Mania, that it really opened up Kings to kind of do Vivian things on the Vivian.
And very, very similar to what we had seen and kind of heard from Kresnik on the desk, is you can't trace him when he enters that stealth.
True.
And so we saw a lot of interesting moments where it's just the focus down onto him, and then when they decide maybe we should focus someone else, or in instances like this where Yui kind of demands your focus, standing there screaming, if you do not look at me, we will win. It allows him to just go off the hook. And when you're not looking at either of these, I mean, he went from, what, 2-2 and 3 to 6-2 and something, and that was before the end of the game. 4.5 KDA. He definitely was able to kind of pick up the role And between him and Vivian, I don't know if they knew what to do with all that damage they were taking.
And it's like the perfect balance, you know. It's the either shot from Strix to set up a kill, and then the follow-up damage being there, or vice versa, where they do a good chunk of damage and answer it. This is the Cyclone we're sort of used to seeing. I mean, this is traditionally a very close matchup, but if, you know, games 2 and 3, if they go the same way as game number 1, it'll only be games 2 and 3. Cyclone move themselves 2 games away from confirming their spots in the high-res Expo qualifiers. Let's see if they grab game number 2 right after this.
The Paladins Console League is brought to you by Evil Mojo Games, developers of Paladins. Cyclone locking up pretty definitively there in game number 1 on Stone Key, proving that damn Strix just about viable anywhere, man. Looking really solid. Again, Grover doing so much, very effective on this map. So many little pockets to hide him in and keep him safe. It's really a lot of margin for error when you have a safety of the Grover.
Yeah, for sure. Being able to constantly just heal up your entire team, not worry too much about the sustain. I mean, again, we've talked about there was a game where the Grover crashed, right? And the entire team was still just getting healed
and
while the Grover was
just fine.
Yeah, just didn't even matter at that point. That's the beauty of Grover.
I like the Blair Witch Project analogy. that was really, it was just facing the corner, man, rocking and rolling there. That's what Grover's all about, though, man. Keep him safe. He's going to do good things for your composition. Bright Marsh, another map that he could potentially be viable on. This is kind of one of the first places that Grover got a pretty good start. I remember Renegade's Viral playing a lot of this character, almost to the point where it felt like they were forcing Grover. That was more phase 1, though, and no real changes to Grover this year. I mean, he's just kind of been solid, floating in and out.
Ever since that heal through walls buff, which he definitely needed, he's definitely rose to prominence over the years. Weird to say that it's been years since he got that buff. But it feels like, I think it's been almost a full year.
I think it's probably safe to say, at this point. It's quality of life buff. I think Pip got it around, if not the same patch. Yeah, that Grover got it. Both those characters much more usable, and those are the best changes, when it doesn't make somebody OP or anything like that. It just makes the characters feel so much better to use. So many more scenarios in which it's just gonna work. Bans for game number 2, though, locked in: Atlas, Talus, Willow, and Vivian. Victor snapped up first, and the Barrack Grover response.
Vivian, Willow, definitely more point-centric, I think, bans. Very tough to survive on point through the onslaught of either of them. Plus, leaving Victor open when you know the enemy team is going to ban Talus, Atlas, because they sound so similar. Getting rid of them, I think, knowing you get Victor, having that presence, and really denying them, I think, the best answer. Tyra's all right, but definitely not at the level, I think, of the other two. She's too easy, I think, to dive.
She's not even getting picked today, and was once kind of considered to be a part of that triune of fully automatic rifles there with Victor, Viv, and Tyra. Falling just to the 2 Vs. Now Victor and Vivian, the only two kind of getting picked up from them anymore. Grok, though, man, we saw a lot of Grok last week. I thought it was a lot of fun. Grok's super fun to watch, in my opinion. We'll see a little bit of him again. Not because of anything Cyclone have immediately picked. Sometimes you'll see this picked into, your Yings and your Barracks, but is this just something they're feeling good about on Bright Marsh? What are your thoughts?
Grok is really good into Genos because he spreads damage, and Genos doesn't really spread heals. So it really does that pressure onto the team where they can't keep up with the amount of healing he's outputting. And honestly, I think that's why Cyclone is ending the draft with Pip. They got to make up for that healing deficit.
Get that burst
they have to make up for it somehow, And Grover and Grok, 2 reset ultimates, a lot of pressure, a lot of sustain.
quite honestly, man, Cyclone have a lot of sustain, right? You look at Formidable, you look at Healing Potion, Battle Shout, and the Astro Mark, man, that's a lot of healing coming out from. And you can grab Cardio while you're at it. I don't even care.
Oh, no.
All 5 members
Not
just
again.
pumping out healing talents. Tyra is being hovered for the last selection here for Vroum Froum. And we
The
just
gods
kind of
are
talked about
watching.
her
Our
hunting
blood
parties
is rushing,
kind of falling
and the
off, and I
hunt
expect that here.
is on.
Mercy Kill, Burn Monster. I don't know what your thoughts are on either of those two, but Vroum Froum's composition right now kind of lacks a little bit of damage.
I think the Grok is going to make up for a little bit with the Shock Pulse, but they're really lacking burst damage
Right,
to actually
yeah.
finish the kills.
Yeah, that's what I should have said. That's a better way to put it, guys. Vroum Froum have some things laid out for them, the work cut out. Let's see if they can get it done here on Bright Marsh.
Should be a fun one here in Game 2. That, at least, is certain. Bright Marsh laid out ahead of us. Cyclone looking to grab win number 2. The kind of buzzwords in that draft phase, Gore, were sustain, burst. Do you think drafting the Pip, it's going to be Catalyst? Do you think there's enough sustain to kind of overcome what Vroum Froum have?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is going to be like Luminary, more than likely going to land on Victor most of the game. A little bit on Khan, a little bit on Fernando, a little bit on the Pip. It's going to be that, well, that burst. That's going to give you that extra damage that you need.
Right.
And a little bit of trickle healing that'll help, like Fernando when Formidable kind of procs. But also, when Formidable hits, if Fernando's low, you just need 1 healing potion for Pip, and it's essentially going to skyrocket you up. So it should be able to keep him alive. And moments like this, though, is kind of where you'd prefer to see it. But right now, Kings is just holding on to that cooldown, maybe keeping it for his own 1v1.
And what a great stall out there from Kings up on the high ground. Saw the health bars diminishing from Vroum Froum and picked the perfect time to rotate down. They were at least able to get themselves 24%. But this is not a lineup of Cyclone that I'm excited to fight back into if I'm Vroum Froum.
And I laugh there, mainly because I always forget Grenade does do damage on hit.
Yes.
And so I was just watching it bounce off of Ash's face onto the ground was pretty funny. But Kings and Yui both going down right here. 90% hit might get stalled out. They're not focusing on the objective right now. They finally move them away.
Yep.
So they're at least, as Vroum Froum, going to be able to come in and kind of displace Cyclone.
Yeah, Pip jumped up on the wall there and got some great damage, but took a little bit too much in return. Oshmania throws out a couple of the barrage rockets, is going to get 2 back. Whirlwind for Vroum Froum, up for the first time now in this game. Crossfire is as well. Almost in time for a Tempest. Valerian gets absolutely melted down, but here comes Naiju. Tempest flying through the mid.
I mean, just being able to kind of enable this again, probably one of the best areas to be able to use the Tempest. You can get up and out of line of sight, but that's just going to be locked down in the through time and space.
And what a great through time and space it was. Vroum Froum, though, they're just a little bit more healthy on the point. Cyclone gets some kills towards the end of it, but Vroum Froum, they strike first. Cyclone now have to defend in order to tie this one up. What a great start from the red side.
I mean, just being able to come in, they have, I mean, very little kills, 5 kills total, which admittedly is only 1 behind Cyclone, but it's all on Valerian, it's all on Legends. It's just kind of been trading back and forth. The other 3, though, are bringing in a lot in terms of the Tempest and the Whirlwind. I think that opened up that door and made it a lot easier for them to maybe keep that and maintain that control. Because, again, the movement speed, the CC immunity, the healing, whatever you want to kind of cut through from either of those ults, it's enough to just shift the tide of a fight, because half the things that Cyclone do just don't matter anymore.
And in the meantime, a triple kill for Ninja. He was 0, 1, and 4 prior to that. But just snagged 3 to keep this payload moving forward. That's kind of the thing with these Grok compositions, is actually Whirlwind was up first, Crossfire was as well, but then Tempest right there to follow it up.
Yeah.
Vroum just had slightly more important ultimates up slightly sooner.
And that's kind of the biggest thing. These ults come up way faster. I think the only one that's going to be very slow charging, it's going to be Dome Shield. Then you're going to see Assert Dominance. Then it's going to be Crossfire. The supports are almost perfectly timed up right now. It's going to be 6% picked up for Grover, but they both just popped theirs. Tempest is finally going to be able to charge back up as it ended. And that's kind of the big thing, is they keep up with each other. So most of the time, you're going to see them in tandem.
Right. At least used here. Thanatics gets the kill onto Valerian. Immortal as well, sustaining Cyclone just for a little bit longer. But once that expires, Yui does the same. Forced back of Vroum Froum, and Evil Mojo awaits in the wings if he maybe needs that one. Good commander's grab to counter out Legend's shoulder mash there, just trying to chip away at that large health bar. No kills just yet. 30 seconds left, though. Quick look at the ultimates. I mean, Evil Mojo's all that's immediately ready, and Fnatic's getting killed off. No more time to charge up that overpower for 10 or so seconds.
No, I'll be honest, I didn't glance appropriately for it being Maelstrom, but there's also a little bit to be said about, well, good Evil Mojos and maybe trying to counter that if Naiju went for the CC totem.
Got 2 with the Evil Mojo, but only confirmed 1 kill, and actually in the meantime, Legends with some aggressive play. Assert dominance, rings down, gets the kill onto Kings. Now Fnatic's the last one really in contest range. You're gonna have to throw some low health folks down there once Yui drops.
That's a good read coming from Legends, and now Valerian's in probably one of the best spots. If you're going to watch Yui kind of hover right there, you are at the perfect angle to deal with him, but they didn't even have to worry about that too much.
Yeah, they are just slowly whittling down a lot of the Cyclone health throughout this round. Ninja here, I think this is his big triple kill, and Bear can do more than just be healthy. He can do some good damage as well.
And then gracefully go accompany the payload as well.
Yes.
Just like that nicety at the very end. Could have been 4 had Naiju not gotten the last hit there. Again, at that there's a certain point where you're like kind of keeping track. Could I have done this? Could I not? Like if you're up 2-0 now, maybe the discussion comes like, I don't know, man, that could have been my quadra kill. Why are you doing this? But there are a lot of moments where it's just like, good, we got him. Let's keep going, keep rolling. If you're Vroum Froum here, I mean, you're playing upset. And so you're looking to make sure you keep Cyclone as locked down as you possibly can to try to lock them out and keep yourself sort of locked in going forward for qualifiers and try and find first seed in the region.
Well, there's a Tempest ready for Vroum Froum, and Ninja spots out a low health Welsh Mania, catches a barrage for it, but gets the kill. That's a trade he'll be happy to take, and Cyclone have fast cap, but no percentage for them just yet. 48 and climbing for Vroum Froum. Big kill from Kings on Naiju. Now we have the Dome Shield immediately ready for Vroum Froum. Nothing really ready. The Evil Mojo will be first, but they got to fight it now. I don't know if they'll have time to charge that one up. Maybe right at the end of this round.
Well, there's going to be the Dome Shield just trying to keep him afloat. 90% here for Vroum Froum. Well, that's going to be a CC immune Evil. No, Evil Mojo not being popped just yet. Trying to come down and deal some damage. It's in the perfect position. Potentially try and find it. If you want to kill a tank, it's a good way to get rid of him. Now it's going to pop and it's going to get a kill.
And maybe even 2. Big double kill there for Kings. Cyclone fight right back into it. Not a moment to spare. 99% for Vroum Froum is where that one was stalled out. Now Cyclone with fast cap. They're going to be the ones zoning themselves. An overpower maybe to confirm it, and a whirlwind for Vroum Froum to fight back in.
Couple of good shots right here. It's going to be difficult because the whirlwind's going to keep them healthy as well as that totem. And they're not going to be able to touch.
They grab point number 1. Better fight there. Once they kind of used everything early there, Vroum Froum did. And once the ultimates weren't on the table, Cyclone were able to win it the old-fashioned way. Good Immortal, good Evil Mojo to secure that mid. And this is kind of what we see with Grok, isn't it? Where, you know, time goes on. Once those cauterizes are there for Cyclone, Whirlwind, Tempest, that combo isn't quite as potent.
That's going to be, I think, the best thing about them not only capturing this, but if they push this 2-2, they get just enough credits to be able to potentially kind of upgrade maybe that final tier at this point and feel very good about it, especially with 2 minutes left. If they just farm up kills the way they are, it's going to look a lot better when they leave the base next time.
Not sure if this is a fight that Luke wins on his own, not with the Ash Shield down, but he has some help from his team, just in range to get those Astral Marks out. So Fanatics is going to benefit from that for the time being. Ninja, though, finds another kill, another Tempest for Vroum Froum to stall out this defense. And, you know, Ninja's having a game on this bear. Look at that, 10-3 and 7.
Top damage on his team as well. Trailing behind, this is how weird this is. About 10K, 12K behind the Pip, and then 40K behind Victor. That's how much damage Victor can do, but Welsh Mania is having trouble converting that to kills. Ninja has effectively 60,000 damage that is getting him everywhere. He's got 11 kills under his name, plus the assists that he's been able to tack up. It's going to be looking good for him, but things will start to shift now that we have 2 cauterized 3s for Cyclone, 2 cauterized 2s. It's going to make, like you said, the Tempest, the Totem, as well as the Whirlwind all just kind of fall off in terms of their potency.
This is a good fight for Cyclone. Valerian is able to slow things down with a kill onto Kings. A lot of that AoE damage would have been great here for how stacked up Vroum Froum are. Not going to come to fruition, though. They're backing themselves off. 30 seconds left. Immortal, Overpower against a Crossfire, Dome Shield, and Assert Dominance. So plenty to stall out these fights for Vroum Froum if it really comes down to it, but a little bit for Cyclone and Yui as well.
And this last corner of this bush is probably the most difficult. I mean, with 10 seconds left, you're still going to be able to hold on to it, but breaking through is where it gets hard, especially because there's still going to be one more fight after this with the respawns that come through. But luckily for Cyclone, they're starting to get some kills.
Yeah, how heavily can you stagger this out is the big question. You get 3 kills, 5 or so seconds apart, so that's pretty important to look at. And Evil Mojo could stall out a contest. Overtime is on, payload moving forward. You're going to have one last chance if you're Vroum Froum with a 5-strong team fight at the end. Shoulder bash. Flies on through for Legends, assert dominance into the back line. You have 5 ultimates ready. You might have to use them all to defend here. Ninja Zen holding on to the Dome Shield. Legends finds the first blood onto Welsh Mania. Lots of damage missing now for Cyclone.
And you just can't underestimate the amount of damage that Ninja's doing, to the point where no one was able to contest it. I mean, both tanks are alive right there. Maybe just too far away. Not enough healing coming through. And, I mean, with Welsh disappearing, it does take away a huge burst of damage. While he might not be converting it all into kills, you're still looking at, I would argue, 5,000 damage that didn't get dealt in that last fight.
Yeah, it's a big swing there. And I always, when there's such a discrepancy between who's winning and having top damage, I like to look at healing and just kind of see, because Kraft, with that Whirlwind's going to be able to do a lot. Kind of keeping pace, though, is Luke. But kind of that 40,000 damage difference, now you look healing-wise about the same.
And that's the big difference. I mean, there's 40,000 just between Luke and Croft.
Right.
Then you factor in the 31,000 that's coming in from the Grover, or from the Grok, sorry. Then now all of a sudden it's a 70,000 difference. And even if they're tacking on, let's say 10K between the other healers, it's just not enough to balance out.
That was a good overpower. Didn't get a kill. Maybe even a better Evil Mojo again. Didn't get a kill. A disastrous fight here for Cyclone. Some well-timed, well-used ultimate, but nobody's in range to capitalize.
People have figured out, I mean, there's 2 counters in this game. Cauterize, good against Grover and Grok. The Resilience, great against Pip. 2 seconds, it's a long time in Paladins. It's a long time to have to deal with being a chicken. But you pop out so much faster than a Pip player is ready for.
Vroum Froum now, 1 capture away from tying up this set. 81% for them Kings. No ultimates. Cyclone, no ultimates. They're just going to have to do it the old-fashioned way. Fanatics finding first blood is a good way to start. As Kings now looks to zone out, follow up with a little bit of extra damage. Vroum Froum, very low health bars. You're going to have fast cap for Cyclone, but you got a long time to delay, and Vroum Froum certainly able to fight back in.
You're going to be in a good position to try and break it down. They are not too close on any of their ults. Assert Dominance will at least buy them time, but soon enough, Whirlwind, Tempest, those are the game changers. The speed that you get from one or both of those is going to be insane, but that's assuming they don't just do it beforehand.
Well, Assert Dominance is going to zone here for Legends as Ninja drops down the shield as well. Through time and space, connects onto Kraft. Vroum Froum now need to win this fight without any healing. Another Evil Mojo is up in this fight. Checkerboard kills cascading down, but the uptime of this front line for Vroum Froum is keeping them in this game. Legends knocks a couple back. Overtime is going to melt the moment they step off.
And it's just 1 kill away. Fnatic's doing anything and everything in his power to keep this one going. But he's getting knocked back.
That's all it is. The overtime just needed 1 knockback. Vroum Froum, I mean, again, this is traditionally a matchup that we've seen every possible scoreline from 3-2, 3-1, 3-0. At least going to be a 3-1 today.
Not too surprising to see them hold on to it.
Yeah.
Very surprising to see it get held onto without a kill at the very end, right?
True.
Where it's just, at the end of the day, if overtime's going for that long, that fast, Ashe is one of your worst nightmares. She knocks you back, and you have to watch as you are right here. You just see it all slip out from underneath you.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's just the worst feeling as a front line.
And that stack kind of ultimates from Vroum Froum, and we express some hesitation, maybe some thoughts on how, as the game goes on a little bit longer, maybe the Whirlwind starts to die off, and the Tempest does as well. At a 4-1, they didn't let the game go on long enough for those cauterizes to kick in. And it also helps when you have a Barrack doing what Ninja's doing.
Yeah, I mean, being able to come through 92, let's round it up, 93,000 damage for him. Essentially going to tack on 1 extra DPS. I still believe towards the end, probably top damage on his team. And he kept up with Pip. That's the biggest thing in terms of damage, but he outflew Pip in terms of kills, and that's kind of where things fell apart for me. And it's just Kings, you know, after such a stellar Vivian game, that was a very lackluster Pip game.
Sure.
Like a lot of evil mojos, they'd connect, but they wouldn't get kills, or maybe they wouldn't even connect sometimes as they came through. A lot of the damage didn't get converted over into any kills at all. There wasn't enough bursting. Like a lot of the things I feel like Pip does didn't happen.
And you talk about Cauterize for Cyclone needing to come online. Resilience, cheaper. You can buy it earlier, and Evil Mojo hates it. Vroum Froum, they tied this one up. We got a tiebreaker game 3 right after this break.
INAP, powering the control room for the Paladins console league.
You look away just when they pull it. You gotta step up, yeah, you miss your cue. Ooh, your time is up now. I'm no fool. I know what you are up to. Keep things cool, but it won't help you. This time. This time, no. This time, yeah. This time, no.
Fighting back there on Bright Mars, Vroum Froum really taking it to Cyclone, almost 4-0ing him there, it looked like, after that first round start. Great stuff from them. That composition, you mentioned the double reset ultimates with the Tempest and the Whirlwind. I think that was a big part of their success, man. They just had so much to fall back on, so much margin for error.
So much sustain just across the board. I mean, even without it, we saw Ninja Zen get overpowered in and just get away in the face of everybody. I mean, that's why Barrick's so good. He's so much sustain just on his own.
We both had the same mirrored reactions. He like rocket boots. We're like, oh, and then he dropped the dome shield. Like, and then he rocket boots out of the dome shield and got away. We were just like, oh my god, I cannot believe. So seldom does any character, for that matter, a lower mobility character like Barrick, survive and overpower deep into the enemy backline like that. That was crazy.
Yeah, and being able to get away and back into the heels of his team. I mean, Grover able to catch him no matter where the Grover's positioned, more or less, as long as he's close enough to the fight, and he pretty much always will be. And this is the Vroum Froum that looks like they beat Cyclone. I mean, this is that Vroum Froum I think that we're seeing, and that's a good look for the rest of the set for them.
Those comps, man, when they pay off, I mean, people do that on PC as well, right? You can get away with that stuff on any platform, really. Those very snowbally, Bright Marsh. I got the double support. Grok as well, man. Grok can especially run away with a game. Not super popular in the minor league or the Premier League, but like we mentioned last week, Grok was super popular in the console league and did manage to snowball a lot of stuff. Pretty much the same bans here for Ascension Peak and the same first pick for Cyclone. That was not, I think, the core of their issue, though. Victor really, wasn't anything wrong with it, right? It's just finding a way to deal with that double reset ultimates. But it doesn't look like Vroum Froum are going to go that way.
No, Genos coming in, they want to play off that damage boost. It's a bigger map, so I think having a more spread-able healer, like maybe they can go a backline-centric composition, have that damage boost really matter a little bit more. And I just want to point out, I think the reason that we don't see Grok too much in the minor and Premier Leagues is just the prevalence of the blasters. We don't see them quite as much in the console league, and it really does kind of shred the totem. It denies a lot of his healing. Not able to, I think, get just as much out of his more stationary style of play.
Dead zone is about the size of the totem, so
you're not wrong.
That doesn't go. That does not go hand in hand. Grover is snagged up for Cyclone. They grab the Khan as well, running back. The Ashe, the Grok, the Barrick, all these things the same for Vroum Froum. It's really only the Genos. Again, my concern is damage. Grok provides a lot of damage to a lot of targets, but it's that burst damage that they're still lacking.
And I think it's gonna fall off a little bit, considering last time it was against the Genos. That I thought was the biggest boon to it, but this time they take it away, and they're gonna really need to find a really strong, I think, burst damager as their final pick. Maybe a Strix or something if that's still available, which it is. That could be a good choice. Also good into the Drogos as well. They need that, I think, because otherwise the Grover is kind of just gonna counteract it almost directly, like 1-to-1.
Strix or Leon, I think, is what I would
want to go with.
being able to not only take that Drogos out of the sky, but we need a cauterized like applicator, right?
Yeah.
You've got your Ash.
Leon's more consistent for that
In
for
this
sure.
game,
Yeah.
you win or
Valor's
you die.
such a good ability
There
for
is
that.
no middle
Comes
ground.
from that Death and Taxes days. I think everybody kind of got in that groove with that character. Got really used to doing that job. Real quick, do you lean any one way in this?
Honestly, I like the Vroum. Now that they have the Leon, I kind of
I
like
kind
Vroum
of do
Froum.
too.
Grok on this map is
kinda do
really
too.
underrated.
We'll have to see, man. Grok again. Can they run it back? Vroum Froum looking for 2 straight.
Grok worked for him in game 2 on Bright Marsh. They're looking for one more win here to actually give themselves the lead in this set. And remember, the 3-2 win that Vroum Froum had was at the very beginning of this split. And that kind of took us back. It was week 2. We were all like, oh, all right, looks like we got some contest. But the last couple of matches between these two teams have not been all that close. But I agree with the guys on the desk. I think the Leon is kind of a game changer here for Vroum Froum.
Yeah, again, the later the game goes, the more cauterize you have, and there's no one who really applies it better than Leon can. As Nick was pointing out, back in the Death and Taxes days, we all like to forget those times, but it was just kind of a proof of concept. Leon's really good at applying anti-heal. And so as long as Valerian has, I would even give him just a passable game, then I think this is something that is very much in their control.
Yep.
And it's just an easier to execute draft because of that.
They're going to have the Grover on Cyclone's side, so that could be a big difference maker. A little bit of extra sustain there. Good fire spit. Combustible sets up the kill. Welsh Mania knocks it down. Big first blood onto Valerian, of all people. So a perfect target for Cyclone to find first blood on.
Just being able to cause some distress already through Vroum Froum. And getting rid of Legends Valerian as a combo, like we saw what Ninja can do on Barrack, but it was with his team kind of backing him. That damage doesn't just rack itself up.
Oh.
And so just him alone is never going to be enough to kind of fight back, and you can see that already happening here.
This Combustible Drogos has hit its mark and then some to start off this game. Welsh Mania confirming both of the kills. And I think that was it. I think it was 2 kills. It's all the pressure that Cyclone needed. It was 3 in total. Welsh got a couple, Kings got 1. You don't often see that. Pretty lack of fireworks there on the first mid-fight.
Yeah, very much just kind of controlling from Cyclone. Like they just kind of were like, this could be a big deal. Or not. And they just moved in. They were like, you know what, why don't we just win? And we'll talk about it with Vroum Froum afterward. Right now, they even burned the Tempest and the through time and space over here just to try and control this little bit of staircase. Ever since then, I mean, the payload's sitting about 45%, 40% as it regresses a little bit. It's been good control from Cyclone, but they haven't been able to find the kills that were kind of gracing them during the point fight.
And one kind of interaction that I just saw that I hadn't really considered until I saw it was the kind of Whirlwind and Tempest counter out, where Luke, the moment he heard that Tempest come out from Naiju, answered back with the Whirlwind for his team. And if you're fighting within a Grover Whirlwind, you're less scared of that Tempest. Vroum Froum had both the Whirlwind and the Tempest in the last game. Now you're split at 1-1, and both ultimates can be used to counter out one another.
Yeah, it's actually one of those things. Grover ult being able to come through, it's healing, so it neglects the damage. And it's CC immunity, so it neglects the slow. A lot of the things that Vroum Froum, or specifically the Tempest here, would do to hurt Cyclone just disappears with that. So you get the move speed for your team and the healing for your team, which admittedly at the end of the day, it's kind of like a worse but better Whirlwind. Like you don't get the same amount of healing, but you're at least getting more move speed out of it. So you could potentially find some good positioning off of that. But they don't have anybody that screams, this guy needs to run fast in order to get here. A lot of them already have movement abilities. They can already displace. And admittedly, they kind of want to fight from at least a little bit of range. Ash, probably the one who wants to be the closest of everyone.
And they are fighting close right now. Cyclone doing the same. I mean, feeling a little bit more comfortable with the Grover. First blood, Valerian in the back line gets the kill onto Welsh Mania. Good wall, covers the regress of Yui. Staying grouped up now, though. Grover's going to be very happy about this one. Big Quadra knockback. Assert Dominance drops down as well. 2 kills for Vroum Froum. No chance Cyclone get back onto this one. It's going to expire, and Vroum Froum grab themselves the defense.
That was really good from Legends. There's no other way to kind of dissect that one.
Bodies flying.
The 4-man knockback into, I believe, a 3, maybe 4-man stun off of his ult, which immediately led to 2 kills for him. and then the other two, I believe, followed shortly thereafter. Pretty much everything you would ever want out of an Assert Dominance and out of an Ashe just happens. And it's not something you get, honestly, very often. If you get one stun or one kill off of your ult, it feels worthwhile because of the immunity you get. If you get one knockback, you're feeling pretty good on this map. So being able to open that up, again, very, very solid from Legends. Every single member of Vroum Froum, save for Kralft, focused on that Cauterize.
Damage much more even this time. Remember, Welshmania on Brightmarsh was far and away the top damage dealer in that game. Being held in check a little bit extra here. Controlling is the way we describe Cyclone's first mid-fight. We're going to have ultimates this time. First of it being Dragon Punch, looking to follow up onto Legends, who's not able to finish the kill onto Welshmania. That's a big trade for Cyclone.
And now Grok is in a very bad position. Valerian's going to be able to at least save his soul for a second there, with the ability to take out Kings from a distance.
That's a weird Tempest.
But it was very aggressive.
Nobody followed him.
I think he was getting up there. I think the original plan and call was to be up there with Ashe, but then Ashe dies because the Dragon Punch, and you're just kind of like, oh, I'm out here now.
Yeah, I'm alone.
Let's see if I can get home.
Yeah, I mean, there was some follow-up from Vroum Froum, but Cyclone countered it out very well. They've controlled this side of the map so well. They're able to get themselves back into it. Seismic Crash, Whirlwind, ready for Cyclone. A few. Now one less for Vroum Froum. Through time and space doesn't connect. Seismic Crash down from Yui, finds a double stun. Maybe one more shot onto Valerian, gets the kill, and he's fighting into the Dome Shield. Ninja is so low. He's gonna back off. Just delay his life for a little bit longer. Contesting, but not for long, is Ninja. Maybe actually being able to get the kill onto Yui. Kralft finds it. The Cyclone now look to fight back in.
Barrage is about to come up, but it's not going to matter. Welshmania gets burned down. That's 42%. Starting to look a little bit bigger here for Vroum Froum, especially with this flank from Valerian.
And Valerian could have a big enlightenment. Not going to need it. Double kill the old-fashioned way onto Cyclone, who are now still up 72%. Good zone from Vroum Froum, though. Could seal up this mid. Barrage ready to go, but that's it. Not a lot to fight back in on. Are going to use it. Just looking for a target. Gets one more barrage, but nobody in range to touch. One more time, Vroum Froum grabbed themselves the lead in this game.
Yeah, Yui's able to get there. Actually able to even find a kill after getting there, but the unfortunate thing about Inara, and I will also say conversely, the best thing that Valerian did towards the very end of that was just dismounting Inara. Once she's dismounted, Yui just kind of had to waddle towards the objective. Yep. And again, cool, you got a kill right afterward. You still lose the point. With 2 minutes left on the clock, there's plenty of time for Vroum Froum to be able to get in here and cause some ruckus, I guess, overall, or at least take down 2 or 3 members and then get back on the payload.
It would be a little bit easier if you had a ruckus. Fanatics has been, pretty good with his overpowers. Kralft now 1 for 2 on the through times and spaces, connects with Kings this time. Welshmania back behind the rock, dodges out the enlightenment. Takes the angle onto Valerian, sets up a kill for the rest of his team. This is a good defense from Cyclone to push him back, but the frequency of these Tempests, it catches you by surprise every once in a while.
It's the combo. I mean, Grok does a good amount of healing with a good amount of damage, and he's gone into morale boost. So he's going for pretty much like the trifecta of this is going to get me there.
Yep.
And that's only a morale boost 1. I'm assuming if he goes down, that 900 credits will probably be invested into a Cauterize 3. Kind of depends on the team call of that. It could also just be a morale boost 2 plus a tier 1 item, maybe for something else. A little bit of flavor on the side just to kind of keep them rolling forward with it. And they're going to need it pretty soon here because Kings and the rest of the crew on Cyclone are just locking them all away.
Well, that's been a big difference as well as you look at the first kind of mid-fight and the near capture that Cyclone had. A lot of it was on the back of this Drogo setting up great fire spits. Welshmania right in range to answer back. Rampaging now is the victor. Got a couple kills in this one. 20 seconds left. Things looking dire at the moment for Vroum Froum. As the clock continues to whittle away, and kind of looking at the ultimates, it's hard to count Tempest out at 50%. I mean, it's going to be relatively even going into the next mid if Vroum Froum don't capture.
3, 2.
I don't even know if they're going to be able to get their touch. I'm not sure anyone's been able to get close.
Nope.
just narrowly avoiding it. I think Genos, Ash both kind of in the area. But unfortunately for them, in the area is not always the same as contesting, and so they don't get to grab
That's right. And, you know, I kind of said this is where Drogos needs to get back into this game. Fire Spit 1, followed up by Fire Spit 2. That's a good double volley there from Kings. 3, 5, and 9, so a bit of a fall off, as mentioned, from the Drogos. 5 ultimates ready to go, though. Maybe keep your eye out for that Whirlwind Tempest trade-out.
And it's going to end up favoring Luke at this point, because while Tempest has been recharging pretty quickly for Naiju, Luke has that morale boost 3. That Whirlwind is going to go down and then come back up pretty soon thereafter, as long as he doesn't get eliminated in the process. And that's kind of the big question mark, is how much focus gets thrown onto that Grover versus how much focus they can kind of throw out. Dragon Punch still available as well. A lot of options here for Cyclone.
Things could turn around through time and space to use. Doesn't catch anybody. Enlightenment, though, does. With the Dragon Punch up, that's a big trade. Now Vroum Froum feeling like they can move a bit further forward. Tempest is going to help them out in that case. Good assert dominance from Legends. Forces back a couple from Cyclone. Dragon Punch, Overpower, ready for the retake, but the mid-fight convincingly for Vroum Froum at the time being.
You're going to need a lot more than that as Cyclone to be able to hold on to this. I mean, you see how many ults they use, but that Whirlwind was thrown out just a little too late at the end of the day. It was just there when Cauterize was being applied to Grover. He was too low already to be able to hold on to it. Not near enough of his other teammates to be able to do anything with it. And so it was just a lot of healing that didn't go anywhere.
And, you know, this is admittedly not how I expected this game to go. I mean, since that early split win for Vroum Froum, Cyclone has really been in control of this region. So now they're pushing to take a 2-1 lead in this set and set them up 1 away from really making things interesting down to the last couple of weeks. Cyclone's still in an area where they can contest and maybe take the game for themselves, but they're going to have to figure out the mid at some point.
What I like is you can tell both of these teams are playing with that knowledge that qualifiers are on the line.
Yep.
For Vroum Froum, it's not, oh, hey, win and you go. It's just win and you don't get knocked out.
Right.
If you are Cyclone, that fuel should be burning, I would say, a little harder for you, because this is it. This is the only set, really, that's standing between you and potentially getting there. Otherwise, it's going to come down to some interesting stats towards the end of the phase based on who's won, who's lost, where everyone is. I think it does require Cyclone to lose a little more often than just this one.
Yep, it does.
But, I mean, losing one's a start to losing two.
So they are 2 wins separating them from Vroum Froum. So this would make 3 with 2 weeks left. That's insurmountable, but Vroum Froum win it. Suddenly now you're looking at 1 win separating these 2 teams, and this is the last time they play. That's an important thing to look at as well. But then you'd be relying on Bust Down, who traditionally plays Cyclone pretty close, to maybe upset them. Cyclone has it their way. They finish it all here today, but Vroum Froum having something to say about it. As Cyclone put down the defensive flag, push back Vroum Froum, and 30 seconds left to defend one more time.
I just want to know if King can make up his mind. He's played such a wide variety of champions here. It's interesting to see him come through now on the Drogos, which admittedly has not been a bad pick.
No.
But it's not doing quite as much as I expect. I see him for the Dragon Punches, but I don't see him as much unless he hits a good Fire Spit. And those have been decently often, but more often than not, I see him, and it feels like, on this receiving end of Valerian's shots.
Welsh Mania trying to keep his team in it. Valerian finds the first blood. Fanatics goes down. Overtime begins. Vroum Froum moving in to take the lead in this set, move themselves 1 game closer to grabbing the win. Dome Shield into the Seismic Crash, gets countered out. Payload moving closer. Somebody from Vroum Froum needs to find a pick. Kraut is the one who does it. Now it's down to Fanatics. Grabs the Overpower. Dragon Punch may be a saving grace.
He's going to be able to go in. Not going to be able to find it. Gets eliminated in the process. Does punch the hell out of the ground, though.
Wow.
In that area. But unfortunately for him, that's not Barrick. That's not, I guess, Leon. That's not the Grok. Anyone that was kind of right there around that area. I think I'm going to rewind it a little bit. It was really Legends to me that stood out the most, just because getting up, first off, onto the high ground, that's already a big feat for your team, stripping that away from Cyclone as they defend. But also some good stuns into Kraut, finding a good shot with his ult. a lot of things that kind of rolled together there to make sure Vroum Froum could lock that down.
Well, for the second game in a row, Cyclone are going to have top damage in their roster, but the more consistent, a little bit higher effectiveness damage. Look at Valerian as well on this Leon. We figured that would be a game-changing pick. It was 13, 8, and 8. But look at Kraft, 4, 1, and 20. Everyone really starting to the cogs really working for Vroum Froum.
And just being able to come through 4, 1, and 20 for Croft. A lot of good effective kills, good assists that came through. And it was kind of a quiet game. I feel like we heard a lot from Valerian, saw a lot from Legends, but Naiju was kind of just patiently in the background doing the thing Grok does. I'm going to poke you down with a lot of damage. I'm going to like keep Shock Pulse up, keep firing, and then pop Tempest every now and then to the point where you stop counting how many Tempests I pop because there's so many. And at the end of the day, that damage number trickles up. I mean, 103,000 is no small feat for him. And so it's very, very big what he was able to apply to this fight.
And Grok is just working right now for Vroum Froum. I mean, I brought up the question, do you need the Grover? Do you need something like a Furia to pair with the Tempest to make it work? The answer is apparently no for Vroum Froum. They take a 2-1 lead in this set. Things getting interesting here in the Paladins Console League. See if they round things out in game number 4 right after this.
SteelSeries, the official peripheral provider of the Paladins Console League. Welcome back, everyone. Looks like Vroum Froum may have just cracked the code here for Cyclone Gaming. Whether that's Grok, I think it's a little bit up in the air, but it's certainly part of at least what is working for them so far.
Yeah, Tempest Aggression is just so tough to deal with unless you're ready, and hopefully for Cyclone Game 4 is when they can finally be ready for it, either in their gameplay or maybe throwing Grok into the ban column.
A Grok ban would certainly be a massive amount of respect. Let's head to the map screen and see where the rest of this set, at least for now, will play out. Just played on Ascension Peak. Splitstone Quarry is going to be up next. And again, just to give you some more context around this game, it's very important for Cyclone. This would be a clinching game, but don't get me wrong, it's not as if they're losing everything if they don't win this game, right? Vroum Froum still win. They're just kind of keeping themselves in the conversation. We still have to follow along with this region for the next couple of weeks to figure out who's really going to be that representative at LAN. Again, if you're Cyclone, you want to put your foot down and just end it all here and not have to worry about your games in the next couple of weeks.
It comes down to map score, I think, after this point, because then they'll be even in map differential. They'll really have to just hope that they win by a bigger differential than Vroum Froum does against everyone else.
Champions are made by the paths
Bands
they
are
choose.
almost the same. Khan takes the
they
seat
were
this
graced
time.
with.
Instead of, I believe, Vivian, I think was the last one.
Believe so.
That was banned out. Victor is still going to be snatched up first. However, this time by Vroum Froum, and Cyclone is going to try their hand at the Grok Vivian. I like this combination, though. I mean, a Tempest, is a really good way to get a Vivian in position and just allow her to mow people over.
I mean, she already moves 30% faster most of the time with the build, so put a Tempest on top of that. She's basically a truck.
You're zooming.
Just running through, almost unstoppable. Going to be hard, honestly. I think the hardest thing is aiming at that speed.
Yeah.
Honestly, right?
Yeah, I think for me with Vivian, once you get inside of a certain range, I think you're just hip firing.
True.
At least I do. And I've always felt that was pretty effective with Vivian. So I think if you're comfortable doing that and aiming that way, you can really use that movement speed. As well as you're not slowing yourself down as much by not ADSing. I've always liked that element of you know, being fast in a shooter makes you harder to hit. It's an absolutely intangible benefit, but it's one that I think that goes a long way. Slight switch up here in the core of the drafts for Vroum Froum and for Cyclone. Oh, not quite trading drafts, but getting that Grok versus that Grover Victor this time for Vroum Froum.
And Genos not being picked yet either, so potentially Cyclone could be pivoting there at the end, not having the damage boost. We'll see where they end up going.
Good.
Big sustain for Vroum Froum.
Yeah, a lot of it.
Could help, but I mean, Cyclone got out-sustained game 2. Are they willing to take that fight again? Will they get out-sustained again? They have the Barrack this time, so it might be a little tougher for Vroum Froum to pull that off.
This is like, I don't know. Normally on Splitstone, you get one like kind of Corey comp, and then another comp tries to use like some mobility in the rest of the map. This is like both these comps are going to be warring for Quarry, right?
Yeah,
it's going to be they're going to run in full force into each other.
Combustible will help a lot.
It definitely will, man. I'm not sure who I'm really betting on to come out on top of. I think by default, Vroum Froum with a good Tempest, then Cyclone can kind of take it over. But by default, man, the sustain, the damage reduction, all these things from Vroum Froum looking solid. This would be the set if they can claim it. Let's get down to Splitstone and see what happens.
Well, this is potentially the most important game of the day. If we're forced to a game 5, that one becomes the most important game of the day. Surprising, honestly, Gore, from Vroum Froum. I'll repeat. I did not expect this one to be as close as it was. I certainly didn't expect Vroum Froum to be in a winning position here in Game 4. Cyclone grabbed the Grok this time. It'll be our first look at that one. But a chance to end this set and keep themselves in the conversation for Vroum Froum.
Not only that, but they've been able to do it pretty convincingly.
Yeah.
Like it's not been 4-3, 4-3, 4-3 for 3 games. They have been able to win pretty handily in there too, and that to me opens up that discussion that we've been having pretty much all phase, where it's just there's 3 teams in this region. Bustdown's kind of been given the, I want to say, the worst hand overall in terms of score, but Vroum Froum, Cyclone, like they are right next to each other.
The moment though, Cyclone a little bit out ahead of this mid fight. Ninja able to buy a couple extra % on the point. That's important. Nobody from Cyclone just yet. Yeah, you get a couple kills, but nobody feeling okay to stand on the point until right now. You lose 15, 20% maybe at that point.
And the biggest thing, not only losing, I think, the amount of control, but seeing how much is kind of falling through from based on literally just what the death said. Tempest kind of re-enabling you back into the fight. Cyclone like kind of rushing at each other, but just being able to out-survive, out-damage you down in kind of the bleachers over here. And with a shot like that from Lucas Too Good, you don't have anything else to worry about.
Yeah, Cyclone are feeling A-okay about that one. Void Grip onto the Drogos. Gonna keep Legends out of the fight just for a second. As Cyclone actually forced back. Somehow you start off this fight with a big double kill. Vroum Froum are able just to out-sustain there on the point. Overtime starts. Tempest back up for Cyclone, trying to find something for themselves. Overtime expires. First blood maybe on an Iju in the re-engage. But Vroum Froum, in the meantime, they touch the point and they grab it.
Just the right amount of zone. I mean, you can play that back for me. I don't even know where the pivotal point is for Vroum Froum. Why that is. Like, Cyclone start that fight off. Probably the best way you could start a fight off and then still end up losing it. I think it does come down to Valerian having a pretty good Victor game, but really Drogos being Drogos, I think, on this map. Kind of uncontested in the kind of damage that he can do. Grok maybe can match him in terms of poke, but there's just so much that's going to be going right for him in moments like this where they're all just right next to each other. That's a rocket that's going to hit 2, 3, 4 members at a time.
That was an absurd engagement on that fight from Vroum Froum in the best way possible. Huge assert dominance, and the rest of the dominoes just fall. Kralt is having a big game here at 2-0-8. Top damage goes to Welsh Mania. They're just kind of shrugging it off. The buzzword of sustain seems to be in Vroum Froum's favor.
And again, the faster they can end it, the better it is for them. Once again, you're going to see Tempest and Whirlwind counter out. This time, I think, swapping sides, though.
Yep.
And again, it's just a lot that feels like it's not going right for Cyclone. I mean, that was a good Ancient Rage. They get 2 kills. But even then, I don't know if it feels like they win. You know what I mean? Like
needed that.
They finally come through and get a little bit of a save, but it felt like they had to use a lot to get there.
Ancient Rage most notably. I mean, already morale boost 2 for Welsh Mania on the Grok, so Tempest will be up a little bit quicker for Cyclone. Vroum Froum, though, not really any better off if you look at the ultimate economy for them. They had to use some on that first engagement on this push to get the payload where it's currently at, so teams kind of trading out back and forth. But you're right, there's just kind of this intangible just momentum feeling that seems like it's all at the back of Vroum Froum.
And it's just those small moments where it's how much do you have to commit to do this? How much are you able to kind of control? I mean, they've used the Barrage, they used Tempest, or they used Whirlwind, sorry, for Vroum Froum. Just as many ults technically being traded down, and honestly, I would argue maybe a little better for Vroum Froum since you're going to have Barrage come back a little faster, but at the end of the day, it's a 2-for-2 trade. And I think it does come down to me that it's just this Drogoz, where he's standing and what he's able to apply so far. Even when it gets healed off, no one on Cyclone can have this impact on this game. And so unless they do something drastic to deal with him, Legends should just have a whale of a time.
Well, Luke now has 3 kills in 2 through time and spaces. Weren't able to capitalize on the first one in the mid, but Splitstone Quarry suddenly looking better on the defense for Cyclone. Nobody anywhere close to that payload. That is going to be point number 1 for Cyclone. Have the Tempest back 50% of the way there on Ancient Rage. Vroum Froum, consider that 5 ultimates because Barrage will be up there quickly. There's the boop right back into the fidget spinner.
Looking back on it, that was the pivotal moment. I think that is pretty much going to be it. Because I was looking, I mean, like, Luke's too good is 5-0-5. He had just hit, prior to that boop and prior to the control Vroum Froum brought back into it, a double kill with his through time and space. It's just like, how do you lose a fight like that? That is silver platter 3v5 for you. But that would do it, is just get in, get rid of the Makoa, get in, cause a lot of trouble elsewhere, split the team up, dissect them, and then conquer them kind of in parts as you can. And if they get into a good position this time around, maybe get aggressive earlier on. Vroum Froum are definitely a team that could maintain control.
Watch out, Cyclone. This is where Naiju got a boot back kill. Could be a big up down here. Stuns out onto 1. That's going to be Fanatics, who's forced to shell spin out, but not to safety, to just one more shot from Naiju. As Kings tries to answer out, double kill for the Vivian now. Valerian does a little bit extra damage and kind of down just to the Grok and the healer at this point for Cyclone. Some effective trades, but Vroum Froum a little bit better off. The health pool in their favor. So they take the lead, 33%. Cyclone, though, they're fighting from the point.
And Welsh managed to stay alive through all that. That's kind of where my mind is blown. I mean, that Grok was dead to rights. He was surrounded by like 4 members of Vroum Froum. Yet he's still alive, burning on a 6 streak. Someone's didn't focus him down. And he's been able to kind of stay through and true because of maybe too much focus to get rid of Luke is too good. When admittedly, Genos, unless you kill him, is still going to be impactful. With the right loadout, with the right cards, you still apply your Astral Mark pretty far away.
Seemingly a battle of the healers here. 13 streak for both. Tempest out for Cyclone. Another double kill for Luke is too good. You got to be kidding me. He's got 2 double kills in this game with that Genos ult. And this time, Cyclone are able to capitalize. They grab themselves the fight and grab themselves mid number 2.
And exactly what you'd want to see. Light Year's 4. Some people, I think Bird runs it at 5 on some maps. Others don't. Just increasing the range of Astral Mark by 40%. That just means, you know, through the wall here, he's able to heal you without having to worry about it. It's a little bit more that he can go through. Of course, keeping the cooldown up for him as well. It's less map you have to traverse, and goes back to if you don't kill him and you just zone him out, it doesn't stop his healing.
True.
It just stops his line of sight, which isn't going to hurt him too much, just maybe block his damage down a little bit.
Troy, all it is the damage mitigation. Legends has put a great start to this defense for Vroum Froum. Double kill under the Drogoz. He kind of flies backwards now. This would be a great start. You know, you have a Vivian on Cyclone. That's kind of who draws that line of needing to ground this Drogoz, but
come on, someone
quite been able to do so just yet.
Yui was just hidden in the corner with 1 shot left on his health bar. And no one was looking at him for a little bit there, and it's like, guys, come on. No, you're swarming the area. You got to be able to find him. But you know how it is. Barrick due to size, does
He's
get like
small
a
and
plus
sneaky,
5
yeah.
to stealth. So all his stealth checks were rolling there for a little bit. But finally, there's going to be a little bit of respite coming down from Cyclone. They're going to get back into this one. There's going to be a good Tempest. But it's not opening up the door as much as I think they thought it would.
Yeah, Tempest maybe a little bit lackluster. Assert dominance, honestly, much the same. Naiju way in the back line, so it actually does end up having a pretty big impact. Ninja throws up the wall. He's got some damage waiting on the other side. Mother's Grace out as Cyclone pull back just a little bit here. Look for maybe one more fight. Naiju has been relentless in diving this back line.
I mean, he's been able to get back there, and in hindsight, it makes way more sense now that I see where the payload was. I thought it was much further. Like, I thought it was rounding the last corner based on the aggression from Cyclone in that fight. That was a fight to get back to the payload, not a fight to get ahead of the payload.
Right.
But it ends up being behind them after they are in somewhat control of that one. And how they have to come around the last corner. They at least force some big ults, or at least a big ult from Vroum Froum. And depending on what happens for Legends here, it could open the door.
Well, what happens is he goes into the Dragon Punch and immediately dies. Welsh Mania escorting the rest of Cyclone forward to the Ghost Walk, and he stays alive. He's got his frontliner there to help him out. Valerian dies. Now Ninja Zen is getting melted down here. Naiju with the only saving kill for Vroum Froum. You're going to have your frontliner, 92%, 97 on the assert dominance. Might need it as overtime stalls out just for a second. But Naiju goes down, and Cyclone, they're able to zone for point number 3. Gore, it's looking ever closer to a game 5.
You know, I'm always torn in moments like that between, do I want you to jump down if you're a DPS and hold on? Or do I want you to hang back because you're probably just going to die anyway? Like, at the end of the day, I think hanging back is the right call. But it always feels like maybe there's something you could have done, right? Maybe there's just
maybe if you have like a big streak, you don't jump down because you're just going to die and give them ult charge, but...
No one's burning there on the side of Vroum Froum. Well, Croft is, but I don't think he was going to be the one jumping down anyway. If they don't make that call, they just kind of hang back. 3-1 is uncomfortable, but they've had pretty good presence on the point from Vroum Froum.
Yep.
Comeback mechanic, honestly, might be what they need to enable this and get them back in the fight.
That's true. They've been close, just needing that extra little push. Unfortunately, Luke has been too good in hitting his through time and spaces. Not going to have it here. Going to have it maybe in a couple seconds. Barrage, first one to come out flying for Vroum Froum. Another aggressive assert dominance from Naiju. Pushes back Cyclone as Legends gets the first blood. That was a Dragon Punch, so Ultimate's starting to fly from Vroum Froum. You expect them to win this early fight. Cyclone still in it, though. 4 members still left around to contest.
Range and Rage from Makoa going to come through, trying to swing big, and does swing big. Gets rid of Naiju. Trades out his life for it. Ultimately going to be worthwhile, but someone's got to be able to contest this point. It's 99-0.
Yeah, you do not have a Dome Shield if you're Yui right now. Good fire, spit, through time and space does not connect for Luke. That's been a big difference maker in these mids. Now Vroum Froum with a chance to tie with a successful push.
This is where things get really awkward. Obviously, you want to push as hard as you can to try and get the tie. But at the same time, it doesn't hurt you if you don't get this push. In fact, it might even help for Vroum Froum if they just have that little bit of enhancement over Cyclone going into the next round. Then they can try to convert.
Yeah, true.
It's tying it up here 3-3. It takes you back to, well, level playing field, equal ground. Cyclone so far has been pretty dominant in that area. I think as time has gone on, they've been kind of excelling more and more than we've seen out of Vroum Froum.
And I think Naiju, I mean, a double kill there for the Ashe, but put such a stamp on this game. I mean, the aggression into the back line, it's really kind of the consummate Ashe play. This is how you want to play. A little bit too far there. Not going to win an engagement with a Vivian, especially with some help from the rest of your team. But big difference maker for Vroum Froum has been what Naiju's been able to do.
With Kings back on the Vivian, we're starting to see a little bit more of a performance increase from him, I would say, where he just, again, you roll back to last game, and it's just not hitting the way that you expected.
Yeah.
You roll back to the Pip, and it was kind of non-existent in terms of what you want out of Cyclone. And that's kind of where we've seen Vroum Froum pick these up, is where Kings has been, I don't want to say non-existent, but more of a non-factor for these fights. They've been able to just kind of roll over him, pave over him, keep the road going far and beyond where he was to defend it. This is one of those moments now where if he can find some good damage, if he can find a couple of good kills, it reopens the door wide for Cyclone.
Well, he set like an unattainable standard, I think,
for
in
himself,
game 1 on
yeah.
Stone Keep. Everything else, just by default, I think was going to be worse than game number 1. But it's been a lot of pivoting, as you point out. Some differences back now to the Vivian and finding some presence with it. But it just, I don't know, better space control almost from Vroum Froum, and that's so important on Stone Keep.
And with a map, like you said, on
Splitstone, rather.
Splitstone, that is as big as it is, where Lava Side, as well as Bleachers, as well as up here on the balcony, all of these are going to make such a significant difference as to where you're fighting. You have to kind of maintain control of your area. It matters more, I think, around the objective, around the point. But when you're looking at this right now, I mean, Cyclone, they have maybe a fourth of the map to explore that Vroum Froum doesn't control.
Cyclone are going to open up a little bit more of that map for themselves to control with the Tempest. Gives the team a little bit extra move speed to re-engage Valerian. One shot away, they didn't finish off the Victor, and instead Valerian turns around the kill. Finally, Kings comes to the aid of his team and finishes off Valerian. That's a 1-for-1 trade. That should have been a 1 for none.
A couple of good shots here. The 1v1 between the tanks. Kings is going to ruin the 1v1 portion of it, but he's still going to be able to make it a win for his team. And again, putting a stamp with his face on it and his approval coming through. This time around, though, just 2 low health bars that get away with murder.
Yeah, they have not been able to finish off a lot of these kills. Kraft gets another one. Now Legends can soften up this Cyclone backline. Gonna tie up this game. Ninja Zen double kill on the Inara. Now Cyclone are gonna be back. Overtime is on. They gotta get down and touch.
This is a really good spot to be able to kind of contest from. Legends in a good position. Again, not a lot of eyes that are gonna come up towards him. Fanatics is already getting melted. I don't think he's gonna want to use the Ancient Rage, so that's another clean kill.
Yeah, Valerian gets the first one. Legends untouched until Kings finally finds the kill. Ninja Zen has the seismic crash. Not sure if he wants to use it. Naiju gets the kill. Another Tempest from Cyclone maybe just buys them the space that they need, but this Inara's health bar a little bit too beefy. Finally, they get the kill. Naiju, shoulder bash out, but it's also out of range. And hair's breadth away from going in. Cyclone hold their own.
There were 2 things. One, that Ashe was very much hoping to bounce off Welshmania and kind of maintain that area. Instead, dashes a little too far and causes the overtime timer to go away. The other is there is no one better to stop an Inara solo push than Grok. You throw down your Warder's Field to get that CC immunity, maybe to get the control, the ground control against the Barrack. That's a free target for him to bounce Shock Pulse off of, and he was able to do so pretty well. As you can see, the 160,000 damage that Welshmania is putting up has the Morale Boost 3 and the Cauterize 3 since the game's gone on a little longer. So expect to see him have Tempest up pretty soon after this. And with Shock Pulse bouncing around, as well as just in general the damage he's going to do, you can expect Cauterize to be pretty applicable in a lot of these fights.
Important here. It's a big barrage. Deletes Welshmania. Legends looking for a Dragon Punch, connects as well. The damage dealers starting to do it here for Vroum Froum just to tie up this game. Fanatics lands the hook, but it only finds death on the other end. 48 and climbing now for Vroum Froum. They're going to have fast cap every other. This is what you mentioned. This is maybe best case scenario.
It's that awkward moment of going in 3-3. If you don't get a kill like that, I mean, that was a beautiful point fight from Vroum Froum. But you are sitting at, let's say, 70% right now instead of the 100 that you were able to attain, maybe 75 by the time they touch back. Cyclone are too late to be able to save it, and now you could push for the win.
And, that's some gravitas there. Vroum Froum with the potential to win this set and pull the win gap down to 1. Last time these 2 teams will play each other this split, you're going to be relying on others in this region to upset Cyclone in the future. If you're Vroum Froum, all you can control, though, is this game right here and right now. And they're at least doing a good job of keeping themselves competitive. Cyclone, no game to win. Vroum Froum with a set to win with a successful push here.
I think a lot of it, Valerian is going to be dependent. I mean, that barrage early on, straight up deleting one member and helping get rid of Barrack in terms of health bar and damage and potency. That's going to be very important. But also this Drogoz. Legends, when he got taken down by the Vivian, which admittedly I can probably count on one hand the amount of times we've actually gotten to see that this game.
Yep.
It's important for him to maintain life to assist his team. There's so much damage that comes down from this Drogoz that is mostly uncontested, and it changes the pace of the game for Vroum Froum.
Another Tempest. Welshmania has not been able to participate. That's a big first loss. Fanatics is able to answer back with a big kill onto Valerian, but another Dragon Punch connecting now for Legends. The offense is on. Ancient Rage maybe stall things out for Cyclone.
Respawn's going to be coming through. They're going to be fighting back, but right now Legend's still alive, looking for a trade against Kings in the background. Ninja's going to be the one that goes down. Naiju looking to be the next one burned through. This is looking like a good start to a defense from Cyclone.
Things finally a breath for Cyclone. Welshmania back on the respawn. Gets the double kill.
30 seconds.
You mean, if you're Cyclone, you have to burn these ultimates here. Vroum Froum are in the spot where they can just respond to what Cyclone bring out. And you don't have Ancient Rage anymore. As fast as Tempest charges, not going to be quite ready with 15 seconds left.
15 seconds remaining.
You still have overtime. That's all you can really bank on right now. 60%.
That's a big kill.
Charging up. I'm not sure they're going to be able to get that Dragon Punch, but they're definitely going to try for it. That Snipe's not going to connect. Naiju gets 2, and that's going to keep this one rolling forward.
This is looking great for Vroum Froum. Cyclone starting to fall one after another. The barrage from Valerian may have just sealed this game, may have just sealed this set. Fanatics shell spins, within range, but gets immediately deleted. Now you're throwing DPSs on the pile, and Vroum Froum, they grab game 4, grab win number 3. Not something I expected to say today.
I mean, especially after the first game. The first game was so commanding from Cyclone. We left that, I literally was just like, yeah, okay, this is going to be a 3-0, whatever. Move on with the day, see what happens next. They stopped it right there in its tracks if you're Vroum Froum. Very well played. Valerian top damage overall, but Legends 140k that he put up, I think is still the most potent numbers you could have.
Agreed.
Also, 90k for the Inara. Ninjazen was not playing passively.
And Krolf did 282,000 healing on that Grover. Luke, about 192,000. It was just a discrepancy in sustain this game. Vroum Froum doing a little bit better of a job. You're right, 4 and 44. 48 affected kills for the healer. You bring up the Drogoz. Game changer for Vroum Froum.
1 free kill whenever he has his Dragon Punch available. But at the end of the day, it just comes down to the fact that without Vivian there, and sometimes even with Vivian there, he's free in the sky. There were so many times where you look at the hit scan. Technically, Barrett can hit him. Technically, Grok can hit him, but he has to be within a certain range. And then it comes down to Vivian. But Vivian is much better at melting shields dealing with tanks than she is at dealing with Drogoz. And so he just got to free fly, free fire from high in the sky.
Well, on a day where Cyclone could have confirmed themselves for HRX, that's no longer the case. We'll go back to the desk in just a second and see the standings, but 1 win now separating Cyclone from Vroum Froum. 2 weeks left, so this is the last time these 2 teams will go up against one another. If you're Vroum Froum, you got done what you needed to get done. You're relying on Bust Down and the other teams in this region to maybe upset Cyclone. But as I mentioned, let's go back to the desk and break things down.
I like putting it that way. They did what they needed to do. They did what they could do, all that they could do. Vroum Froum have kept themselves in the running with a win there. A big win at that. Some colossal 6-figure numbers. We're almost breaking 300k healing. That is not something you see every day or even every year. I mean, this is a real rarity, a severe discrepancy in the sustain. That was something you highlighted heading into the draft. Grover and Nara, what a beastly combination. But that's it for that set. That's it for the European action today. Let's take a quick look here at the standings. 9-1 for Flashpoint. 8-2 there for Aaron Mono. So actually there is still a race going on there for EU PS4. CycloneGG, Vroum Froum, still a race here in EU Xbox as well.
And I'm impressed that Bust Down managed to get 0.2 of a match point.
Yes.
I was just looking at that. But yeah, it is really close. And it is kind of just out of Vroum Froum's hands at this point. Both Aaron Monitor and Vroum Froum, I think. Well, Aaron Monitor and Flashpoint still have that one last matchup, I think, to do. Yeah. But between Vroum Froum and Cyclone, it's just up to, will Cyclone get their win? Will they get that win and keep it going? Vroum Froum also still have to get their final wins. But
yeah, kind of the thing there for at least for me is that, like, that was the toughest matchup, I think, for Cyclone. Yes, they lost it, but now They should be winnable matchups from here on out.
Yeah.
And everybody winning everything, the top 1, top 2 seed. If they just continue to both win, Vroum Froum and Cyclone, then Cyclone is still going to stay on top there for the most part, guys. It's been a pretty close race here in Europe, and frankly, you can't ask for much more than that, right? This is tough for sure when you look at how down to the wire this is coming. Only the top team is going to survive, but like I said, that does it for Europe, guys. When we come back from this break, we're going to head over to North America. Skillshot, the official production partner of the Paladins Console League.